Master the frameworks that transform routine discussions into opportunities for progress, alignment, and lasting impact. Think about the last high-stakes conversation you had: a client pitch, a salary negotiation, a strategy meeting where everyone had an opinion but no one had a plan. Did you actually move the needle, or did you just fill the silence with words? Most people treat communication as an improvised act. They hope that if they say enough smart things, they'll get what they want. Strategic influence isn't about hope. It's about engineering the outcome before you even open your mouth. This audiobook isn't just about speaking better. It's a blueprint for using psychology, tactical frameworks, and AI-powered preparation to turn every interaction into a business asset. We're going to dismantle the bad habits that make you sound unsure and replace them with the tactics that drive revenue, respect, and results. Chapter 1. The Economy of Words: Why Less is Leverage. We live in an attention economy, but right now, inflation is at an all-time high. Every day, your clients, your boss, and your stakeholders are bombarded with thousands of messages, emails, Slack notifications, text messages, and social media pings. Their attention is fragmented. It is a scarce resource. And yet, most professionals treat communication like they are paid by the word. They write 5 paragraphs when 2 sentences would do. They spend the first 10 minutes of a presentation setting the stage instead of getting to the point. They over-explain, over-justify, and over-complicate. This is a strategic error. In a noise-filled market, brevity isn't just a stylistic choice. It is a signal of confidence. When you over-explain, you are subconsciously signaling insecurity. You are telling the room, "I am not sure if you believe me, so I'm going to keep talking until you do." The result is deadly. You lose the room before you even get to your value proposition. This chapter is about flipping that dynamic. We are going to discuss the economy of words. Just like financial economics, the law of supply and demand applies here. The more words you supply, the less value each word holds. If you want your words to carry weight, if you want to command the room, you must make them scarce. Communication creates results, but only if people actually hear what you are saying.
Today, we are going to learn how to strip away the fluff. We are going to look at why the most valuable companies in the world are obsessed with writing less. And I am going to give you the exact frameworks to edit your own communication for maximum impact. Less talking, more traction. Let's get to work. The psychology of over-explaining. Why do we ramble? If we know that people have short attention spans, why do we send long emails? Why do we fill the silence in negotiations? It usually comes down to 2 psychological traps: the data trap and the imposter trap. The data trap is the belief that more information equals more value. This is especially common in technical fields, marketing, and engineering. You've done the work. You spent weeks on the research. You want to show your math. You feel that if you leave out a single detail, you aren't doing your job. But your client doesn't pay you for the process. They pay you for the insight. Imagine you hire a guide to get you up a mountain. You don't want them to explain the geological history of every rock you step on. You want them to point and say, "Step there, don't step there." When you dump data without curation, you aren't being thorough. You are being lazy. You are forcing the other person to do the work of finding the point. The imposter trap is even more dangerous. This happens when you feel you need to justify your existence. You over-explain your pricing because you're afraid it's too high. You add 3 extra slides to the deck because you're afraid the solution looks too simple. Here is the business truth. Senior leaders value time more than money. If you can explain a complex problem in 30 seconds, you are viewed as an expert. If it takes you 30 minutes, you are viewed as a novice. Complexity is a sign of confusion. Simplicity is a sign of mastery. When you shorten your message, you aren't hiding information. You are curating it. You are respecting the recipient's time. And in business, respect is the foundation of influence. This is how you win clients. You become the person who makes their life easier, not the person who gives them more to read.
The Amazon case study, banning the PowerPoint. Let's look at a real-world example of how this plays out at the highest level. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, famously banned PowerPoint presentations in executive meetings. This wasn't just a quirk of a tech billionaire. It was a calculated move to force clarity. Bezos realized that bullet points on a slide are easy to fake. You can write "optimize synergy" on a slide, and everyone nods. But what does that actually mean? PowerPoint allows for lazy thinking. It allows the presenter to hide behind buzzwords and charisma. So Amazon replaced slides with 6-page memos. Here is the rule. Before any meeting starts, there is silence. For the first 20 minutes, everyone sits in the room and reads the 6-page memo silently. Only then does the discussion begin. Why does this work? Because writing a memo requires a narrative structure. You cannot hide a gap in logic within a paragraph the way you can on a slide. It forces the writer to be incredibly precise. It forces them to understand their own argument so deeply that they can articulate it in plain English. The result? The meetings are shorter. The decisions are faster. The thinking is clearer. Now, you might not be able to ban PowerPoint in your company tomorrow, but you can adopt the memo mindset. Before you get on a call, before you build a deck, ask yourself, if I had to write this as a narrative without any visual aids, would it still make sense? If the answer is no, you aren't ready to present. The Amazon example teaches us that structure forces discipline. When you constrain your format, you elevate your content. This is the essence of the economy of words. It isn't just about using fewer words, it's about making sure the words you do use are doing heavy lifting. You guide the conversation by doing the hard work of simplification before you ever enter the room. Tactical frameworks, the audit, and the BLUF. How do we apply this? You aren't going to write a 6-page memo for every email. We need practical tools for everyday communication. Here are 2 frameworks you can use immediately. Framework 1, the 50% audit. This is a brutal editing technique for high-stakes emails or scripts. Draft your email, write it out exactly as it comes to your brain, then, before you hit send, look at the word count. Let's say it's 200 words. Your goal is to cut it to 100 words without losing the core meaning. Look for the throat-clearing sentences. These are phrases like, "I'm just reaching out to see if," "I wanted to circle back and check in on." Basically, what we are trying to do is delete them. They add 0 value. They are social filler. Here's a script comparison. The amateur draft. "Hi, Sarah. Hope you're having a great week. I was just looking at the data from the last campaign, and I noticed that while impressions are up, we aren't seeing the click-throughs we wanted. I think it might be because of the creative. I was wondering if you have some time on Tuesday or Wednesday for us to maybe jump on a quick call and brainstorm some new ideas." The professional edit. "Hi, Sarah. Reviewing campaign data. Impressions are up, but clicks are flat. The creative needs a refresh. Are you free Tuesday at 2 p.m. to review 3 new concepts?" The second version is half the length and twice the power. It states the fact, identifies the problem, and proposes a specific solution. Communication creates results. The first version asks for permission. The second version drives action. Framework 2, BLUF system, bottom, line, up, front. This is a military communication standard. In the military, you don't have time for a preamble. You put the bottom line up front.
In business, we tend to bury the lead. We tell the story of how we got to the conclusion and then reveal the conclusion at the end. That is backward. Start with the ask. Start with the result. Instead of, we looked at the software options and we compared pricing and we interviewed the teams and we think option A is best. Say, we recommend option A. Here's why. When you use BLUF system, you hook the listener instantly. They know exactly where you're going so they can relax and follow your logic. You are respecting their mental energy. The AI accelerator. A quick note on artificial intelligence. We are going to talk a lot about AI in this audiobook. But regarding brevity, AI is a double-edged sword. Tools like ChatGPT are incredible at generating text. They can write 1,000 words in seconds. But remember, AI makes you faster, not weaker. Do not fall into the trap of using AI to generate bulk. If you use AI to write an email, your job is to be the editor. Use AI to summarize. Use AI to condense. Prompt your AI with this. Rewrite this to be more concise, professional, and under 100 words. Remove all passive voice. Use the technology to sharpen your blade, not to make the pile of hay bigger. In a world where AI can generate infinite text, the human who can synthesize and curate becomes the most valuable person in the room. Your implementation plan. We've covered the psychology, the strategy, and the tactics. Now you need to practice. Here is your challenge for the next 24 hours. It's called the 3-sentence rule. For every internal email you send today, try to keep it to 3 sentences or less. The context, the so what, why does this matter, and the call to action. What do you need next? It will feel uncomfortable. You will feel like you are being too blunt. You aren't. You are being clear. Monitor the responses. You will notice that people reply faster. You will notice that there is less confusion. You will notice that you get what you asked for. This is how you win clients, not by overwhelming them, but by leading them. When you master the economy of words, you create a vacuum. You create space. But space is useless if you don't know how to fill it with the right information. You have stopped the noise. Now you need to learn how to truly understand the signal coming back at you. We are going to move from speaking to listening, but not passive listening, strategic listening. You mastered clarity, now you need insight.